Welcome back to the 8 days of The Witcher. This is day number 4. We are halfway there, halfway through the season. And the title of this episode is Redanian Intelligence. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
And we are Dad and Rock. We've been doing this here for the last few days. We're doing the 8 days of Witcher. We're talking about all 8 episodes of The Witcher Season 2. They dropped on Netflix all at once, like Netflix tends to do. So we decided to talk about them pretty much all at once. One fell swoop within pretty much a week's time, talking about the whole season. We have other after shows, a lot of the weekly releases of other shows on other streaming services like Apple TV Plus, Ted Lasso, WandaVision on Disney Plus and such. So check us out on YouTube. We have a great channel over there. Be sure to like and subscribe. And you can also find us on dadandrock.com.
Yeah, and if you do, like I said, if you do like this stuff, make sure you hit that bell, hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Every little bit helps. And let's talk about some intelligence here.
Yeah, so as we explained a little bit in the previous episodes, we're trying to pick like one storyline to focus on per episode. And of course, there's multiple things going on in each episode. But this time around, we're going to focus on Yennefer and her continuing adventure here. The last time we left her in episode 3, she did make it back to, I guess, all these fantasy cities. I can't remember the names of them, but essentially the city where her mother Cahir is and stationed, and a lot of the sorceresses and stuff. She makes it back home essentially, and they are happy to see her. Her mom's definitely happy to see her.
Oh, happy to see her, but then they're is the only one that's not like suspicious. Everyone else is suspicious. Why did it take her a month to get home?
Right.
They thought she was dead. A bunch of things. And then they find out, she was with Nilfgaard because she was captured, and there's a bunch of like just suspicion around her. What happened? Why aren't you telling us what's going on? Type things.
Yeah, they're suspicious of her, and there's a lot of political intrigue, a lot of back and forth. Basically, Tisea, her idea to basically clear Yennefer's name is if Yennefer is the one to swing the axe, just like an old Ned Stark. Like, you got to be the one to bring down the justice. If she's the one to swing the axe on Cahir, who was the Black Knight, I guess Nilf. What's that? Those people called Nilf.
They're from Nilfgaard, so
yeah,
Nilfgaardians. And that's not right.
I don't know, but the opposing army, right? Basically, the same army that she set aflame at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that she's not a part of them. If she's able to,
she wasn't indoctrinated in any way. She's actually still, separate from them.
But the time comes to do it, and she decides, screw this. I'm going to take my own path. I don't really feel like chopping this guy's head off. So she just frees him and she runs.
Well, did you when she actually hit the chain and freed him? Did you see Tisea smile?
There was a
subtle smile there. Like she knew she wasn't going to kill him. She knew like that wasn't her destiny. That wasn't her path. And I think she was proud of her, even though it's gonna make things difficult.
Right.
She was proud that she knew that was not something that she was meant to do.
I think so too. I think there's a bit of pride there, seeing that Yennefer had chosen to take her own path. Yeah,
and take the path that's more difficult for her, rather than the path of the easy path.
Yeah. And speaking of difficult, that's kind of where episode 4 opens up here. Yennefer and Cahir are on the run together, horseback, going from town to town, it seems like, or at least trying to get into a pretty populated town. Which town did they get into? Do you know the name of it?
It's Redanian.
It is. Okay.
That's why the name of the episode is Redanian intelligence. But they're there, and they're walking around. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And all of a sudden, this owl comes through, or these birds, and drops all these wanted flyers. And I mean, they're on them. Yeah. They're like, oh crap, this isn't safe. We got to figure something out.
Yeah, they're like standing pretty like in the middle of the street. She's in like these bright purple robes, and
she'll stand out in a heartbeat. Now he wouldn't. He looks like a scrub that just kind of rolled out the gutter.
He's covered in mud, just like the townsfolk here. But yeah, she stands out like a sore thumb. But yes, they try to get off the streets, and essentially they want to get they want to get back to Centra.
Yeah, they want to get to Centra because that's where Nilfgaard and all the elves are going for safety. That's kind of their home right now, because that's where The other group. Frick, I had it all. I knew it all right,
Fringilla?
but no, that's where Fringilla is. Yes,
Okay, I
Fringilla is
gotcha.
there, and
God, a map would be so great. Sometimes I miss that opening Game of Thrones map that just sets the place and the names of
when
places
you
in the
said a map,
setting.
I thought Middle Earth. Like I just watched Lord of the Rings. But yeah, they're going back there, and that's where like they're all welcome. That's where they all have some type of refuge.
Yeah.
As of right now, I've got a feeling that's not going to stay. There's going to be something that happens that changes all this. But
Yeah, this town is not very safe, by the way. I mean, there's a ton of elves that are still here hanging around, and they are being persecuted. They're
yeah, if
being
you're an elf
beat
and you're in the
down.
city, good luck.
Yeah, it's not a good place to be. In fact, the Yennifer and Cahir, basically, they're in hiding. They're in the same kind of situation that a lot of these elves are, kind of trying to keep low, and they end up running into a couple of elves in the sewer. One of which we
Except
don't know, and one we do know from the last season, right? The deaf elf wasn't he the one that helped Ciri
was
last season?
honestly, I don't remember. I don't know. I was getting ready to go towards like the dragon scene and everything.
Yeah.
But is that what you're referring to?
No, there's the two elves that they run into in the sewers that help them. There's the
Yes.
older white guy elf, and then the younger dude who's the black
That's
elf
deaf.
that's deaf.
Oh,
I
dude, I
swear that kid was one that ran into Ciri in the woods right after she ran away from Centra to begin with when she escaped, and he helped her, and they found
no, you're
elves.
getting him mixed up. The one that's actually the one that helped her in the woods,
Yeah.
I believe he's the one that's now the spy that was in the
Well,
woods.
the one that from last season was deaf, so like he didn't speak.
Oh, that's right. You may be onto something. Maybe I was getting my elves.
Well, I was confused by that too. Those two act because we too see another, like dark skinned elf later in this episode, but he talks. Is that like the same? I couldn't even tell if it was the same actor,
No,
honestly, because they
I
carried
think
themselves differently.
yeah, I think the one that we're seeing was the one that saved her and brought her into the woods and when he's going to go ahead and drink that elixir.
Yeah,
I think he wasn't speaking for like security reasons. I
because
don't
we
know.
see we see the deaf one definitely die, or at least we think we die. He get pulled into the sewers by a monster, and we can
Dude, that
assume that he's
sucked.
probably
I was
dead.
watching that and I was enjoying his character. I thought it was
Yeah,
fun. And as soon as we seen that creature in the
yeah,
sewers, I'm like, something's gonna happen. And as soon as he turned his back
I know.
and was
Just that
talking,
shot. Yeah.
I was like, oh
He was
man.
middle of the frame. It was just like, Sam Jackson in that,
You
shark
Deep
movie.
Blue Sea, you
Deep
thought
Blue
the
Sea.
same thing. Oh man, that's funny. He just
Um,
wasn't dropping F bombs. Or
I
maybe he
know.
was in sign language. I don't know. I don't
He
remember.
could have been, but yeah, that did suck. But,
But
yeah,
Yennefer
so
got took to, yeah. They snatched Yennefer.
yeah, it did almost got her completely, and Cahir was able to pull her out. She's unable to use her magic. There's been a lot of times here the last few days where her having her magic would have come in real handy, but
Oh, easily, yeah. She would have gotten out of situations. Like when she was running from that one thing with the baby, she was portaling,
yeah,
from area to area in
yes,
season one.
yeah.
Yeah, she would have easily gotten herself out of a lot of issues if she had her magic.
Yeah. So the deaf elf, he gets pulled in, he dies. At least we're pretty sure. Sometimes in these things, if you don't see a body, it's like maybe they didn't die, but
Well,
seems like
while
he's
they were
dead for now.
before he died though, they were down there and he convinced the older white elf
Yeah.
um that they should take them to the Sandpiper, who is
Right.
actually getting everybody out of this city and getting them passage to Centra.
Yeah.
And that's why they were kind of together. When they first went down into the sewers, there was no like they were happy to see each other.
Right.
And then it was like kind of a coming to Jesus moment, like, okay, we've got to work together. We'll get there. The Sandpiper's doing this, they're getting them there. And yeah, the tragic death of that one guy on the way to the Sandpiper happened.
Yeah. So that's where we're at here. We've got Yennefer and Cahir in the sewers trying to make their way, and they're gonna try to find out who the heck the Sandpiper is that could potentially help them get them on passage out of the town there. Just checking in here. We are Dad in a Rock. We are doing the 8 Days of Witcher right now, but we do this kind of thing all the time for any shows that are coming out. Coming up here later in December after Christmas, when the Book of Boba Fett debuts on Disney Plus, we're definitely going to be covering that week to week. Chris and I are huge Star Wars fans, so that's a
Yes.
must. If you guys like Star Wars, we did cover Mandalorian season 2. I imagine you probably watched that already, but if not, you might want to check us out. Maybe you're doing a rewatch. Who knows? That's something that we tend to do sometimes too. So be sure to check out dadandrock.com. Go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe.
There we go. So they get to this room. They're in this building. They hear somebody singing and putting on like a concert, and they got to wait till this is all over, and the saloon or the bar or whatever you want to call it.
Did you know it was was it Yasker?
Yeah,
Yasker?
Jaskier, I think
Yaskier,
it is.
yeah. Did you recognize his voice as immediately when they were listening to the song upstairs or no?
It took a while.
Yeah,
I
did
think
it?
once we got closer and closer to the actual scene,
Yeah.
uh, I was suspicious, but as soon as you seen him, I was like, I was pumped.
Oh,
I
sure.
was so happy to see him. I was like, that he's almost what's been missing from the show this season. And there's really not been a whole lot that's been missing from the season.
Yeah.
But his character is it's just great for the show.
It is good. Yeah, and the plot's been moving along at a decent clip here, but yeah, he's been a missed character. I'm glad he's back in. Maybe it's because he was singing a new tune that you didn't immediately recognize him.
Yeah, he
The
wasn't
old
tossing the
tune.
coin to his witcher anymore.
No, not anymore. He'd
Now
like
he's
to
a
toss switch or something else.
heartbroken, someone that's been left at the altar.
I know, yeah, he's, really kinda heartbroken. He's a little jaded friend there. But yeah, so Yennefer, once she sees that it's, Jaskier, she's, both, annoyed and overjoyed to see him and kind of a mix of emotions.
Well, she walks up and he's like, he realizes who it is. He
Yeah,
was like, what fresh hell did you crawl out of? Because he sees some things for one, and then she just
yeah,
walks over and hugs and says, "Oh, we're hugging. I'm gonna need drinks. We're gonna do this. We
yeah.
need drinks."
Yeah, their first interaction did not go over so well, and the kind of a mutual link between Gerald. I'm sure he's probably jealous of her in some ways, how close Gerald was with her,
Yeah,
and that's always the bond that he wanted with him, but he was always kept his distance. But yeah, kind of a funny interaction between these two, and they meet up again.
yeah, and they go back and forth. I mean, over what the song's about and how it's about how he misses them. Then they come to a conclusion that neither of them need him, and they kind of toast to moving on. It was
Right.
just all kind of funny. And then was it Yaskier takes a drink of what they have. He's like, "Oh, this is nasty. I need something else. Anything else.
Yeah.
Something else than this." And then when he walks away, we get this scene here, which I think is really powerful.
You're the Sandpiper.
What? No. Yes. No. How do you know that name?
You pick up a thing or two when you're in hiding.
You're in hiding. Because you're part elf, Yennefer.
I completely forgot. I'm so sorry.
I would not wish that fate on my worst enemy, and yes, you are firmly lodged in that category, it has to be said, but what they've done to you and your people is unspeakable.
I thought his reaction was
Yeah.
almost the most genuine reaction, like how someone would actually react.
Right.
Like, yes, no, what? You're
Right.
not. No one's supposed to know this. How do you know? And he even says, who would be lodged in his worst enemy. What I kind of smile when I heard him say that. I just kind of laughed. I was like, that's just kind of funny how he says that.
Yeah.
But his total reaction is so believable.
Yeah, and even though it shows that he cares about Yennefer's fate, even though he may not want to interact with her or have anything to do with her, he doesn't want to see her or any elf harmed
Yeah.
in any way just because of they happen to be elves or have elven bloodline or whatnot. It's just like you can see the quality of Jaskier's character there.
Yeah, and that's not
Um,
something we really got in the first season, though. It was more he was always
no,
just trying to make a buck. That's
right.
a lot of. I mean, that's a lot of growth from when we left him. Wow, to where we
Yeah.
are now.
Yeah, for sure. He was always trying to out for himself, basically. But I mean, he does agree to try to smuggle them on this boat. That's kind of been his specialty as the Sandpiper here recently, and it doesn't go well. It's not without its hitches.
Well, I knew. Well, when he walked up and the guy calls him out, "Where's your papers?" and he starts talking. The guy realizes who he is. And he's
Hmm.
like, "Oh, my daughter's a huge fan," And he's like, oh, okay. So he's gonna start walking, and he starts saying his song suck. I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna go well. And it keeps going, and all of a sudden he turns around, and they start going at it, and it's just kind of like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna hurt you because my daughter's a huge fan of you, but where's your papers?
Right.
I was like, oh boy.
But it wasn't like another moment where Yennefer's magic would have been handy.
Oh yeah, because she would have teleported either over to Centra, or she would have teleported everyone onto the boat, or there'd have been some way that they could have went ahead and rectified that situation. But then
at this point, the old elf that we ran into in the sewer, that at first he ran like a coward when his friend was taken by that monster down there. I guess he's feeling a little bit of guilt here, and he decides that he's probably going to end up sacrificing himself.
That's pretty much my interpretation.
And I think he knows that. He makes the move where he, comes out and he says, F you, and like just being real like
the way he went ahead and verbally attacked that guy, knowing how they actually handle elves in that town.
Yeah.
So, he knew that was the end. And I think it was completely he felt guilty for just running and leaving his friend and not actually giving him any chance of us saving him.
But what he does ends up helping, and this small group was able to use that distraction to get onto the boat. And it was a nice move there. Well, at the end, it made a difference.
It worked out for every. Yeah, it kind of redeemed his character, even though we only knew his character for a short period of time.
Yeah,
there was a redemption for him in that manner.
Yeah. They get on the boat here. There's a character that we're introduced to. I don't know if he's from season 1. But what's the deal with this shirtless old dude and the owl? And what did you make of any of that?
I really wasn't sure. It's like he didn't trust any of the mages or anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's like he thinks they're all out to get him. He's kind of trying to figure out a way and power and everything, around that. And
he seems like he's some kind of advisor to one of these northern kings.
Yeah.
Because he talks to the skinny northern king with the long hair that we saw in the last episode at this council.
Or he's a military guy or something like that, one of the armies or something down those lines.
And he seems to be close with this owl, and we also see through the owl's eyes.
I don't think he realized the owl was watching him. I think the owl is from another sorcerer or something.
Yeah.
And he's being watched from afar.
Yeah. We get very little introduction to these characters here. I suppose they're going to play out in further episodes. But yeah, I just thought that was strange. We did get a ton of story explanations of what's going on with that particular guy.
But during that whole time, Yennefer didn't even get on the boat. She went back after because all of a sudden Jaskier was gone. Because she got on the boat and looked back and seen his guitar was broken.
She heard him scream, and it was enough for her to go back up on the boat, see his loot busted up, and
basically she was like, "Damn."
Yeah, it's enough for her to be like, "I need to go out and see if he's all right."
Yeah, go out and she went out, and next thing you know, she finds him, but then they're being chased, and then that lady that runs that brothel basically, stabbed her in the back. She come in here and she knew. I bet there was a reward for her.
Yeah.
So when she caught her, she handed her over, and now she's chained in this chair, and they know who she is, obviously.
Right.
And she's in there just kind of moving her hands, and now Jaskier is like, "Crap, where'd she go?"
Yeah, but you're dipping into the next episode there. The last we find her in this episode 4 is that basically Jaskier's in trouble, and she's determined to go help him.
Ah, there we go. So we got just cut it off.
That's going to be it for day 4 here and this episode. But join us tomorrow. We got a little bit of a teaser from Chris, but join us tomorrow. We'll find out what's going on with Cirilla and Gerald. And join us every day this week as we're leading up to Christmas. We're going through the entirety of season 2 of The Witcher. And we will be back this time tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure you go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that that little bell. And what do we usually do as well, Sean?
Toss a coin, dear Witcher.